Hello and welcome to the Daily Dulcinea. Today is August 14th, 2008, and on this day in history in 1936, Kentucky held the final public execution in the United States. Josh, can you tell us who was executed?
Rainey Bethea. He was He was in his 20s. He was a black man, and he was convicted of raping and strangling a 70-year-old white woman.
And, at this time in the United States, public hangings were actually the norm, especially in Kentucky. So why did this one get so much attention?
Well, partly because of a woman named Florence Thompson. Florence Thompson was the sheriff at this time in Owensboro, Kentucky, where the crime took place, because the rule was that if you committed rape, you would be killed in the place where you committed the crime. So Florence Thompson was the sheriff of this small town in Kentucky, and her husband used to be the sheriff, but he died, and the governor gave the job to her. So everyone wanted to see this sheriff kill somebody else, because this was the 30s. This doesn't usually happen with female sheriffs and killing other people. So that's why it generated a lot of publicity.
And can you tell us about the events of that day?
Well, 20,000 people actually descended upon this small town of Owensboro, and there were hanging parties and everything. It got pretty out of control. So at about like 5:30 a.m., that was when the hanging was to take place. They all went to watch what was going on, and at this time, Florence Thompson was about to perform the hanging, but she just chickened out at the last second. So I can't do this. She ran to her car, and the responsibility went to the one and only Louisville policeman named Arthur Daredevil Dick Haish. So of course, with the name Daredevil Dick Haish, he's not going to chicken out in this situation. So he performs the hanging, and he dies at around maybe after like 5:40. And this is where the crowd starts going crazy. They just start running toward him. They rip off the black mask, and they just ripped it to shreds, and they kept parts as like souvenirs, because these people used to like this thing back then.
And so can you tell us, this obviously was a horrific event, especially the ending and the reaction by the crowd. What was the reaction by the public of the nation? What was the reaction by the national press?
Well, newspapers throughout the country did not react kindly to the situation. They called it the Carnival in Owensboro. There was a lot of public outcry against public executions like this, and they saw an end to it. So Kentucky started using private executions, and other states started doing the same, and before you knew it, there were just no more public executions.
And that actually was the last one then?
That was the last one.
And so what happens today? What's the rule or the law today with obviously
well,
we don't have public
in terms of capital punishment in general, the Furman case, Furman versus Georgia, in the 1970s, that actually said that capital punishment was cruel and unusual punishment. But states actually got around this, and lethal injection started to be used, and they said that's not really cruel and unusual, so that's used to this day. Although somebody actually chose to die by firing squad in the 1970s, I believe, because he was allowed to. This is in Utah, and apparently part of the law was you could be killed by electrocution or firing squad or anything else. So he chose firing squad.
A little loophole.
Yeah, he actually wanted to attract attention to the fact that public executions were cool.
And that he did.
He did.
Well, thank you for your report.
You're welcome, Kate.
Thanks. And for more information on this story as well as others, please visit us at findingdulcinea.com, and we hope to see you again tomorrow.